We're privileged to be sitting here down in Busselton, Western Australia, with none other than Aussie classic rockers, the Screaming Jets. I'm sitting here with Dave Gleeson and Izzy Osmanovich. Is that right? Yeah. How are you, fellas? Welcome to the Bogan Show.
Excellent, mate. How you going?
Good, mate. Thanks for coming on. Just going to cut to the chase with a few questions about your music. You're currently touring and promoting the latest album called Do Ya?
Yep.
How's that been received so far?
It's actually it's been received great. We've still trying to struggle through and get that major airplay, radio play, but we've been touring and doing great numbers, and people are still turning out to see the Jets in huge numbers. So we're very excited about that. But yeah, we're just that little kick over the edge would be fucking nice.
Right. Excellent. Now, you've been at this sort of thing for, good 20 years now, still working hard. What's it really like on the road?
It's good. It's good if you want a quick death. No, it is. It's tops. Who would think, at high school or whatever, you'd be thinking, your music would be, making you a living, and you'd be out doing what you love, looking at pretty Sheilas and meeting blokes, bogan blokes,
Plenty of these ones going
drinking
on.
heaps of piss, and that's our life. That's our profession, is to drink piss and meet bogans.
And meet bogans. Awesome. Well, that's what we're all about. Your reputation as a live act, as far as I'm concerned, is right up there. How do you get that across and harness that into a studio album? Like some of your songs just seem to really come alive, in the live set. How does that translate when you're putting it down in the studio?
Well, that's probably the hardest part about recording ever, is that you get in front of a crowd and you go nuts and your adrenaline's pumping and you hit notes that, like, for me singing, like when I'm on stage, I can just go for it, because the crowd's there really interacting with you. But in the studio, you got a couple of old dudes sitting there behind a glass screen going, "Oh, that was great, do it again," and it's really hard to get that spontaneity.
It is hard. We had to stick up all nude chicks all over the studio just to get some sort of vibe going. But it's really hard.
And that's why you got it. Like for us, when we do backing track, when we record the songs, we all have to be in the studio playing together, because otherwise it just feels stale, Yeah.
Just with yourself, Izzy, being in the band, I was just going to ask, one of the questions was how do you guys recruit new band members? Been a few lineup changes. What's the process for that?
Yes.
We start there.
Send a link.
Queue up and check the computer screen.
See anyone who's hopefully got preferably a truck, maybe a van.
Must have own transport.
Own transport. No, it's like, obviously we hopefully go for people we know.
Yeah.
We know it's going to fit in.
Yep.
It's one of those things. That'd be pretty hard trying to recruit different band members. It really would.
Yeah, I mean, look, and we've been through it, as you say, quite a few times, and it never gets easy and it's never fun. But it's I guess we rehearse more when people leave the band than any other time, really.
Yeah.
So the current lineup, some good vibe, good chemistry happening. I think this time last year was the same lineup as well, and that was awesome. So all still good, obviously.
Yeah, so it was still. This lineup's been probably 2.5 years now. So, right. It's like combinations in a rugby league team. We've got a good one this time.
If the drummer keeps being a smart prick, he's going real soon.
Just on the latest album, Do Ya? What's the process for? Obviously there's a fair few songs don't make the cut. What's the criteria for what does make the cut?
Well, we generally get in and record 20 songs in the beginning, and then it's just a process of listening.
20? How many we do this time?
Oh, we did about 30, actually, right. 35 even. But then it's a process of taking them home and listening to them, and you just, some songs take a few demos and stuff, and then you just kind of know they're not going to work. And other songs kind of might be not quite up to scratch, but listen to them a few times, and then you realise what you need to put in, and it's kind of... It works pretty organically like that. We don't really sit down and have a ballot or anything like that, but everyone kind of seem to come to the same conclusion with the songs that ended up on this record.
Yep. Right. What's just some of the, for yourself, Dave, particularly being a founding member, what's some of the highlights of the band, career highlights looking back so far?
Oh, I can't remember anything.
I've got a few that might jog your memory, 50,000 people in Newcastle when the Newcastle Knights, or
this year too.
The Knights, you reckon? I reckon the Dragons are going to win this year.
Was that a pretty good highlight for yourself?
Oh, definitely. I mean, we did that, and then there was a gig that when we first, the second European tour we did, we played with on a huge Monsters of Rock bill over in Germany, and I actually got to get up and sing with In Excess, which was pretty fucking major for me. I was a huge In Excess fan. Getting our first gold record, I think, was kind of that still's the pinnacle for me, because it was kind of took us from being a band, watching other bands, and into the sphere of going, oh, we sell lots of records too. So yeah, it's that'll always be right up there.
And just starting out in Newcastle, we're pretty keen to know, like, how did Newcastle shape you guys as a band originally? Like, just growing up in that town, how did that form you guys as a band?
Well, much like West Australia, there's a very strong live, was a very strong live kind of vibe in Newcastle. And Izzy was in a band at the same time we were in our first band, and like we were doing 5 and 6 nights a week as just Newcastle bands, Oh, from about 16, 17, and then so it just kind of makes you like match fit, and kind of makes you realise that you might have a huge gig on Monday night or Tuesday night, but then tomorrow night you got to get up and do it again and do it again and do it again. Keep doing it, And
I mean, back those days too.
There was no pacing yourself back then.
No, it was like 16, 17, or even early to late teens. You're driving in a truck, setting your own gear up, doing gigs. Pulling it down, loading it up, and going up. Next gig, it was intense.
Yeah. So I mean, that shaped, I think, a lot of Newcastle bands. Just that ethic of getting out and playing, and we owned our own PA and had our own truck and all that stuff. So we were kind of doing the do. And then we started off in Sydney. We came down to Sydney, and then it was a whole new fucking kettle of fish.
Yep. What about some of your influences, like both you guys, just as musos individually, just starting out, or even today? Like, what are some of the bands that have influenced and continue to influence you or inspire?
AC/DC, obviously, for any Australian pub rock band, I think has to be one of the pinnacles. Like, I was into the Doors and Kiss, and I've always been into show band, like bands that put on a show, and whether that be Jim Morrison pretending to get shot on stage, or Gene Simmons spitting blood, or David Lee Roth fucking doing backflips. It's yeah. Who were you into, Iz?
I was into sick ethnic music when I was little. Such as? Oh, just all the Yellow Yugo bands, But when we come to Australia, it was like Elvis Presley was about it for us, Everyone loved Elvis because we thought he was a wog.
Because of his hair.
Yeah, that's a fair call.
Elvis Preslowski.
Yeah, that's it. Elvis Preslinovich.